beautiful artisans. So I spent the morning right out of the gate making my little turban. I wanted to make a little headband for the summer to hold my hair back, which is kind of why it's sticking all up. Which is why I made it, because I kind of have days like this where it's difficult to and if I put any gel in it, it might work and it might not work. So with that, I'm going to first share that I made this head wrap with a sleeve of a shirt. And the jean fabric, the cotton, is so soft on this. So I'm going to put it on and I'm going to wear it because I was wearing it and I took it off so I can show you just how easy it is to put on. It's absolutely lovely. I love it. You can see I did the Sashiko stitching. I put a seam here for just a little decor. It can use about another hour of some stitching towards the back, and but it's done enough so that I could slip it on and show you. I love it. It's very comfy. That's what I like about it. I have to have headbands. I have to have a lot of different tools, if you will, fashion accessories to hold my hair back. And I notice that if it's soft or not. So anyway, this is lovely. This is a very light denim. So you can tell by just feeling the fabrics as you're scouting for them. Now, with the hat, this hat is adorable. What I did was I added a couple of bands to the bottom for the brim. I added a seam here under there just because I wanted that there. I went, I put the, I inspected the hat in these areas where we were adding our scrap pieces. And I just want to share this with you. This is a thrift shop little piece of plastic. Seriously, I mean, look at this for storage. I put all of the seams and the bands and pieces that I might use to decorate, to do my Boro building, if you will. It's a very you can feel the energy when you start building. You can feel the energy from the pieces of fabric. It's like you either put them back down or you gravitate towards them. But what I'm going to do is so this is still in its baby stages. And as I share with you how I'm making these hats, like I said, I make them all different ways. But the concept is, and I think you pretty much got that, but that you have your diameter and you work from that. So I'm going to pin this hat down and keep it in place because that makes a super big difference on you working. And now, if you look, I sewed around, just pinching, staying very close to the top. I'm closer than 1/8 of an inch, and I most likely will go around again. Now, the reason I did this not on camera is because I was going through the seams and it was taking me a long time. Even if I whip stitched, it would have been highly monotonous for you. So with that, I ended right here, and with the idea that if I can get the right one here, get the a short thread and just show you how I do this. So first of all, I would have my knot. I would start from the inside. That's kind of why I'm going down. Here, I'm going to put the camera down and let's see where my gap is. Right here's the gap. So I'm going inside. I'm starting inside the seam. Now you can have the knots showing. Absolutely, you can have the knots showing. I've done that. I've done crochet hats with the ties right outside. But I'll turn it this way, and what I'm doing is I'm doing my Sashiko stitching. I am doing one stitch here at a time. Now, when you go through, when you're going through, okay, there's a couple tips here. When you're going through denim, um, you want to make sure you have a strong needle. So, and yes, if it's a Sashiko needle, you want to make sure it's one of your larger ones because they come in all different sizes. And if you're using a machine needle, you really want to take caution because it might seem fine going through the top stitches, 2 layers of denim, and then all of a sudden the needle breaks on you. So that can happen. There are, as if you're a sewist, you already know that there's many there's different needles that you can put in your machine, right? So now the other thing with this is when you're Sashiko stitching, you want to do a push of the needle. You want to push that needle through. So you do that anyway with Sashiko stitching when you're doing your runs. But the difference with this is if you're trying to pull it through, like you do it, that's what they do in embroidery and with a hoop and this and that. You're going to hurt your fingers, first of all, because denim is a little durable, right? So you want to use the push method of pushing your needle through. I have to turn this towards me for a moment so I can see here, and I'm just finishing this up. Most likely, I will go through this. I will go around. I totally will go around again. But what I mean is, I will inspect it, and if I decide to go around 3 times, I will. But I will go around 2 times, absolutely for sure. So, okay, now, just to give you an idea, some of you are thinking, well, I know how to piece together the rest of this hat. I know how to sew it. I'm just going to go sew this square piece on, and I'm going to, get those pieces sewed. Now, this is just an idea, and you can sew it on any way you want. However, you want to be mindful that if you are sewing your patches on separately, that you're trying to keep the same tension. The tension can change. So what I do is, and I'm starting from this side, but I go around. So I'm up here. I'm just going to show you this after I get the needle through, because I'm going through 2 seams here. So with your seams, you can whip stitch them. And I do that. I do that method. And it just means you're putting the needle in just below the seam. Now here I just did a couple of whip stitches on the top. And now I want to get this piece. So what I'm going to do first, my first priority is to get all my pieces on and get the pins out. And that way I can work and focus on creating, let's say, putting patches of different other scrap fabrics and starting to build either a Boro Sashiko patch to add to it, or building with just the fabrics right onto the hat. So there's many different ways that you can do this. And no, in my opinion, it's not wrong. What you want to make sure is that whatever you are doing, whatever method you choose, that you are what shall I say, making sure it's together really well. So with that said, what I'm going to do is just start sewing, and I'm going to show you this in a moment. but I'm going to start sewing my Sashiko stitching so that I'm going around the hat. And this is what I'm doing first. I'm going to take this pin out. And I use these pins with really big heads on them, really easy to see. They do not sink into the fabric. And I'm going to take this pin out, and I'm going to show you in a second. Now, as I go around, see, I whip stitched that. And here's this pin now I'm going to also take out, because now I've got that in place. So I'm going to whip stitch that particular piece again, and then I'm going to be on my way going around the hat. Now, do I need to go around the hat? You do not. But what you want to do, and this is what I do, is I go around, like I'm going to Sashiko stitch a little bit, and it's, in this particular case, it's a very short distance from this piece to another piece. So I'm just going to do a little Sashiko stitching straight across, and adhere that piece. Now I can stop my Sashiko stitching in the middle, like, okay, there's no fabric, like I'll show you for a moment. Like if I wanted, I could just not do any Sashiko stitching there, but I would stay parallel to at least this and jump over here and start stitching across and make sure it's adhered before I really start working the piece. And the reason is, if you work the piece with like lots and lots of Sashiko stitching, let's say vertical, horizontal, like I said, the tension, it can pull. That's not a bad thing either. It's just a look, it's an effect. It's like, do you want that? And I get that effect. And if I don't like it, if it's really bothering me, well, then the next time I do make a piece, I'm not going to do that. So that's why I'm sharing that with you, because that's just a bit of experience. So save you a little time because you might, because, you know, I've been there. So, but you know what they say, there's nothing like learning by doing whatever it is you're doing yourself. So anyway, so I'm going to show you this. Now I'm on this piece right here. I'm on this piece. Now what I want to make sure of is, and I'm going to take the pins out, but I'm going to put a few stitches in first, and then I'm going to show you, because I want to show you this. This is very important. I'm putting a few stitches in at the top, and I'm just kind of giving you some tips today to get you started on your sewing. Get that pin out. And I'm going through a few seams. This is why you want to make sure you have a strong, I'm taking that needle out there. Okay, now I'm going to take this off, because one thing you want to do, especially when your first hat or two, and you know what to look for. I just sewed those few little spots there. And I want to take it off the model, and I want to look really, really well in there. I want to look inside that hat. I want to take this right here. I'm going to put that down. I want to take this that I just sewed a few stitches, and I kind of want to see if I can lift it, because guess what? You can be sewing this, you could be adhering it or think you're adhering it, and you don't have it overlapping enough. So you want to make sure it's overlapping. You want to make sure that's a good sew and whatnot, because if not, I mean, the worst that will happen, right? It will fall it will fall off, or it will shift or whatever. And of course it's all fixable. And but that's just something I want to show you, because you could be sewing along this hat and there's a whole gap because you were sewing along that, but you didn't have the overlap at least 1/8 of an inch. So you want when you're building your hat, just like when you do Boro Sashiko patches, Japanese patchwork, or you do the kawandi, you want to make sure all of your patches are overlapping at least 1/8 of an inch. The very same with your hat. So you just kind of, that's the biggest tip I wanted to give you today. And I wanted to show you how I'm sewing in the pinched manner here. And you certainly can fold, the top in. You can have that in and sew that way. So it's tucked in. But I'm going to go along and sew like that. I'm going to pull my sewing machine out today and probably give this a few rounds of top stitch. And I wanted to show you how I just took another band and I added it to the bottom. So I'm just loving this. And I already have this on, or else I would. I'll try it on later. But I think this is going to be a lovely hat, and I will probably add my maybe a few patches of Sashiko stitching. Sashiko patches on this. So I hope that helps, and I will check back with you in a little bit. I'm going to continue sewing this hat, and then when I come back, it will be done, at least with all of my hands stitching. And if I get to do the top stitching, I'll show you that. I'll show you that anyway when it's done. But if you have any questions, please let me know. And with that, you have a beautiful day.